In today's episode, we're going to share how to budget for a month of slow traveling in Florence, Italy.
We've just spent a full month in Florence in the winter, and we've tracked every dollar we've spent for the whole month.
So stick around till the end of the video because we'll share exactly how much we spent on food, fun, and accommodations.
To all our subscribers, thanks for coming back for another episode. If you're new to our channel, I'm Gillian.
And I'm Stephanie. We're a couple who saved and invested our way to financial independence, and now we get to spend our days slow traveling our way across Europe with our two little dogs.
If you're looking for how-tos on slow travel or financial independence, this is the channel for you. Be sure to hit that subscribe and notification buttons so you don't miss an episode.
Today, it's all about budgets. We're going to be talking about how much to budget for a month of travel in Florence. We have just spent an amazing month here as we've been enjoying the amazing architecture, the incredible food, and of course, all of the unforgettable Renaissance art.
If you want to see more of what the slow travel experience in Florence is like, you can catch our latest video and it'll be linked in the description below.
So now that we're pros at planning a budget here in Florence, we're going to bring you our best tips for how you too can plan your budget for the kind of vacation or slow travel experience that you're looking for.
We're going to start things off with accommodation because that's always going to be the largest expense in any budget. Now, when it comes to planning that budget, there's two main considerations. One is the type of accommodation and the other is the time of year.
First, you'll need to decide on your type of accommodation. And of course, there's a type of accommodation in Florence for every price point. Now, if you're choosing a hostel, that can be a great choice as a budget traveler. But if you have a long-term stay in Florence, you do need to keep in mind that personal space might be a little bit limited in dorm rooms.
Hotels will be the most expensive, and they can range quite a bit in price depending on their level of comfort. They will typically lack cooking facilities, which can be a real drawback for a long-term stay.
If you're staying in Florence long-term, like a month, or even if you're staying longer than a few days, we always recommend to go with an Airbnb, particularly if you can get an entire apartment. This means you'll have free and easy access to cooking facilities and lots of space to spread out.
We have just loved the Airbnb we've had for the past month. It's located in a pleasant neighborhood with lots of restaurants and too many pastry shops around. It's very close to the Arno River, which is great for taking walks, and also to the center with a lot of the historic sites.
And of course, the inside has been really lovely as well. We're on the top floor of an old-fashioned apartment building, and we have views out both sides of the apartment, which has been really lovely. So we can look out across the terracotta rooftops of Florence. We do have a whole video about how to choose a perfect Airbnb, which we'll link up in the description below. Now, the time of year when you're planning your trip can have a huge impact on your budget, specifically for accommodations. So Florence sees a huge uplift in tourism over the course of the summer months.
So we paid just over $1,100 US to rent a one-bedroom Airbnb for 1 month in the winter. You can expect that the similar Airbnb would go for 2 or even 3 times that price in July and August.
Now, there is an additional budget item related to accommodations that you may need to keep in mind if you're planning for Florence or even for Italy in general. This came up a lot when we were doing our research, and it's actually something we haven't encountered before in other European countries. And this is the need to pay additional for your usage of any utilities.
Make sure that you ask upfront whether your utilities will be included because it could increase your accommodation cost by another 10 to 20%.
Now we can talk about the exciting stuff, which is of course dining out. Now here, sky's the limit as to how much you might want to spend when you're eating out, going to restaurants, getting takeout in Florence. The food here is amazing.
If you're on a budget, you can still have a great meal out by having a fixed price lunch or dinner, which typically comes with 2 courses plus wine for anywhere from $10 to $15.
Now, of course, you can spend lots more than this if you'd like, so meals can be as extravagant as your taste.
There are also lots of options for grab-and-go meals, such as getting an espresso and a pastry at a stand-up bar, or you can have a slice of pizza from a favorite place you discover in your neighborhood.
You can also look for a lampredotto sandwich at kiosks around the city. So this is the Florence street food, and it's basically a tripe sandwich, quite delicious. And you can also wash it down with a glass of very rustic red wine. Finally, you can get a scacciata sandwich. So I'm probably not saying that correctly, but it's basically like a focaccia bread, but specific to Florence. absolutely delicious, huge, and it's just stuffed full of whatever amazing ingredients you order.
Just keep in mind that the prices listed below are local prices, and if you're right in the heart of the tourist area, they're going to be $1 or $2 more.
For us, during our time in Florence, we had a multi-course meal out maybe once a week, and then plenty of little grab-and-go takeaway options. In total, we spent just under $200 on dining out and takeaway, but that's because we spent actually more on cooking at home, which we'll tell you about right now.
So that brings us to groceries. So as Stephanie said, we did a lot of cooking at home, and this is something that we love. Cooking with fresh ingredients, we buy up whatever seems to be in season and try our hand at local dishes, so this suited us just fine. In total, we spent just under $600 on groceries, and that included a lot of high quality ingredients such as good quality balsamic, olive oil, lots of delicious meats and cheeses, so it definitely was not a skimpy part of our budget.
Entertainment is another very exciting line item where you can also spend as much or as little as you like. Of course, Florence has so many options, so many sites, attractions, a lot of things that cost admission. One of the ways we like to enjoy a city when we first arrive is to do a free walking tour. These are actually not really free because of course you should give your guide a gratuity at the end. This time we downloaded the Rick Steves app and we used that to use a truly free walking tour, and it was a great orientation to the city.
If you're on a budget, you can look out for the free days offered by museums, which are typically the last Sunday of the month. As well, churches are free to enter, although you will pay more for some of the extras, like climbing to the top of the Duomo.
Of course, it's completely free just to walk around and soak in all the street life and the architecture. If you are looking to spend a little on your entertainment, of course, there are so many sites and attractions to pick from. Something to keep in mind is whether a guided tour of some type might add to your enjoyment of going to the Uffizi, for example, or some other major site or attraction.
So in total, we spent $34, and that was for one ticket to the Uffizi, to the Boboli Gardens, and as well to the Medici Chapel.
For transportation, Florence is actually very small and very walkable. We found that almost everything we needed was just 10 to 20 minutes away, just a lovely walk along the Arno River.
So if you do take a trip on the bus, it costs €1.50 for a 90-minute ticket, and that is good for wherever you want to go within 90 minutes. So we did a return trip to Fiesole, a little day trip to a neighboring suburb, which is just a beautiful little village looking out across the Tuscan countryside for a total of $6.
Another important line item for being a slow traveler in Florence is, of course, data, because you will need to be connected. So the absolute cheapest way to do this is actually take the free Wi-Fi available either through your accommodations or maybe through cafes or restaurants that you frequent.
So that's not always the most convenient option. So if you have an unlocked phone, the best thing to do is to just buy a local SIM card, which can be had for around $5, including a gig of memory. Now, we have a global plan from FlexiRoam, which we caught a sale on, and we managed to get our data for just $4 for 5 gigs for the whole month.
The next line item for your budget for slow traveling Florence is actually completely optional. So this is fitness. Now you might find that walking all through the city and going to all the sites and attractions is enough of a workout, and it probably is. But for us, as we are slow traveling, we also like to keep up with our fitness routine. So we took a month membership each at a local gym, and that was about $165.
The side benefit of establishing this as our daily routine was the opportunity to befriend some locals and feel just a bit integrated into the community.
Another line item to keep in mind is laundry.
So we have been paying $8 per load of laundry, and this is not a wash and fold service. This is DIY, load it up, do it all yourself. So since we're doing laundry every week, this can really add up. Now on to insurance. We believe that everyone should have some form of health insurance in place for their overseas travel, even if it's just a low-cost, high-deductible policy that will cover you in case of a worst-case event. Now we have a combined health and travel insurance policy that comes in at $97 for the two of us.
Now, if you're a long-term traveler like us, you may have some other costs back at home that you still need to think about even while you're on your beautiful month-long vacation in Florence. For us, We have a 5x5 storage locker that we keep back in Canada, and this is just for all of those mementos and precious items that we couldn't let go of. And in fact, we have a whole video about how we downsized 95% of our possessions, which we'll link up in the description below.
Before we close off, we're going to share with you what our costs were for 1 month in Florence. Now, we stayed here during the low season, which is the winter, and we also cooked most of our meals at home. That said, we stayed in a sunny and spacious Airbnb. We bought good quality ingredients to cook with. We also splurged on 2 gym memberships. So with all that, our total came in just under $2,600 US. We actually have videos tracking all of our expenses from all of our travels, which we'll link in the playlist up here and as well in the description below. Thanks so much for watching. We hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please hit that like, and we will see you next time.